Hello and welcome. Today I'm in that tier 8 cruiser, the USS Atago. And this is a match from a rank battle that I really wanted to share with you guys because it ends up being quite close. So, it's a match on the map North, and I spawned on the northern side. Our destroyers decided that the B cap would be the priority, so we went for the B cap. And, well, here we are. I obviously tried to support them so that we can take this cap zone, and I will try hitting the enemy destroyers. However, because I'm gonna be targeted once I do that, and there will be enemy ships maybe coming, I just decide to turn around and leave because the enemy destroyer did run away, so there's nothing I can shoot at, and well, we took the B cap. And they will be going for the A cap, so I will try to support the Bismarck that for some reason seems to want to really commit Sudoku. Yeah, so basically I will try to hit as many ships around here as possible and try to set them on fire while not actually getting killed myself. You see, one of the ways you can do this as a cruiser is you start turning the moment you fire, or you even start turning before you do that. Because if they fire at you and from like 12 kilometers plus, you will be turned away and your profile is really narrow, which means that you should be fine. Not to mention it takes them a bit of time before they quite realize that they have the right target. Oh yeah, if you're wondering why the audio cuts out once in a while, that's because in the original recording I alt-tabbed during the matches, which meant that there was no audio recorded. Because Wargaming likes to mute the audio when you alt-tab from any of their games. I do wish it were an option to, disable that, but unfortunately it isn't. And so we're pretty much stuck with it. Okay, so it seems that we have traded destroyers. There are only destroyers and Akizuki left, which is actually quite good for us because the Akizuki isn't exactly the best destroyer for doing destroyer things. So I'm gonna engage this Tirpitz, and as you can see I'm already turning away. I'm gonna launch one set of torpedoes. If I could have launched both of them I would have, but unfortunately I was already turned too much. Okay, so I got the fire on the Tirpitz. I'm actually unsure if hitting the Tirpitz is the best target. Yeah, switching to the Alabama is better, I think. And obviously the priority as a cruiser is to not show broadside while firing. That is, it's more important to survive, at least in ranked battles, than it is to deal the, 1,000 extra damage or whatever. Okay, so my torpedoes are likely going to miss on everything because the ships have turned away. And I guess I fell into concealment and now I'm turning around. I'll go with the Alabama. I don't want to go too much closer to them because I should be at a decent range from the enemy so that I don't randomly get picked off, because that would be really unfortunate, right? Okay, so I'll just try to get closer and shell some more enemies, like that Alabama for instance. But I do need to make sure that I am not broadside on the moment I get spotted. I do want to be able to try to at least avoid some of the shells so I don't get immediately taken out. So I could have fired, but I think that would have been a mistake because I would have probably taken too much damage for basically very little in return. And I'm gonna basically try to keep circling somewhere around here while avoiding shell fire from the enemies and trying to deal with the enemy battleships and, well, cruisers and destroyers if possible, but probably gonna only be able to shoot battleships. Although that Chapayam, if you look at the minimap, is not that far actually. Okay, that Alabama is low HP. Getting some chain fires going would be nice, but I don't think that's likely. The next target is... yeah, I guess it is the Alabama, but she is too far away. That's kinda like my maximum range, and since she is sailing away, I don't think my shells will make it in time. I'll try with these, but I don't know. I'm not really holding my breath on those hitting. It seems the enemy team is actually intent on pushing the B cap. We have a Benson in there, which might or might not be useful. Oh, and I might be able to shoot the Chapayev too. Okay. That's always a good option. But obviously, if we can finish the Alabama, that would be a better decision. Oh god, it seems that we are behind. We have 4 ships, they still have 6. We have lost one of the battleships and the cruiser. Luckily, our Benson is smart. She is not staying to engage with the Alabama. She is actually leaving the cap zone, which is good for us, because the Benson does need to survive, otherwise we're gonna get screwed. Our Bismarck seems to be pushing, but I think that's a really bad idea, especially with the HP she has. And oh god, that's a Tirpitz right there. Now the question is, should I try to stop firing and fall into concealment? Or should I try to do the turn while spotted? I'll try to fall into concealment, because that will make the turn safer. Okay, and there it is, but I'm gonna get spotted by the Tirpitz in like now, because she is at 9.1 kilometers. Unfortunately, I have to take anything that happens now. I do launch the torpedoes, maybe I will get a lucky hit, that would be the best, but, you know, my priority is obviously trying to stay alive. Oh god, that shot from the Alabama was really good. I would have loved to finish off the Alabama, but unfortunately I wasn't quite in time. I do have a heal available, but I was set on fire, so that fire pretty much negates the heal. On the other hand, I am also being shot at by the Yakizuki. The positive effect of that is that we know exactly where the Yakizuki is, so nobody is gonna suddenly get surprised by her torpedoes. But the negative effect is that I'm taking damage. And if this Yakizuki gets another fire, then that's bad news for me. And it's very good that I got the torpedo hit on the Tirpitz. So now I fall into concealment, I turn around again, and I will go for another run on the Tirpitz. I will also start turning away as I, start opening fire again, because again, you don't want to show flat broadside, you don't want to get taken out quickly. I'm okay if the Yakizuki shells me, as long as I can deal significant damage on the Tirpitz and maybe, help her being taken out. And oh, there's the Chapayev next to her. The Chapayev is an even better target. I kinda wish I had AP for that salvo, but I don't think it's worth it on the next one, because I'll be more and more angled, so I think fires might be a better choice. Especially if she damekons the first one, and I get the second one. Oh, she did damekon, so if I get another fire, that one will deal a significant amount of damage. Unfortunately, the game has got even worse for us, because the enemy team has 940 points. And they have lost only one ship, that one destroyer trade earlier, although it wasn't really a trade, was it? Okay, our Amagi took out the enemy Mogami, that's good, so we don't lose quite yet. The enemies are at 900 points yet again. I would have liked to take that shot on the Chapayev, but unfortunately that wasn't possible, so Tirpitz it is. And now I'm gonna turn away, because there's an Alabama coming, that's some danger, and there's also, trying to avoid the enemy shells. By the way, I'm just jumping up to the tactical map view by double tapping the M key really quickly. This, takes the camera higher up to try to see where the Alabama is. Unfortunately, I had to do it a few times to get it right. Okay. Come on, Alabama, please get taken out. Oh, Yamagi took out the Chapayev too. That's very nice. Well played by Fire Steve. Okay, I got the fire. Unfortunately, she likely has damage control party, which means that she's going to survive this fire. Okay, I get unspotted, so I start turning around, going closer again, because, we're basically all in at this point. Our Amagi is low HP. If she dies right now, before the Alabama does, then we lose the game. So come on, Alabama, please, 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 please. Oh, come on, 163 HP. Oh, the Amagi rammed the enemy Amagi, so that meant that both sides lost points, so the enemy team didn't win yet. That's good. That's very good. And there goes the Alabama. So, okay, so I am very low HP. I have 3,907 HP. The enemy team is ahead by 1 point, right? Look, they have 915 while we have 914. So I'm like, okay, I'm going all in. Screw it. It doesn't matter right now. But this is actually a mistake. I don't quite realize it yet, but we are actually winning, because if you look at the points ticker, our points tick first. Look, 949 while they were 933. Our points tick first, which means that we will get to 1,000 points before the enemies do. But I realized it too late, even though Fire Steve told me in chat, but later I realized that he's right. So I'm gonna stay right here behind the island. This does have the positive effect of if the destroyer tries to come and spot me, the Terpit still can't fire at me because the island is in the way. And at this point we won the game. Because we will tick to 1,000 first. Watch this. And there it is. We won the game because we ticked points first. If our destroyer had kept being, like, I don't know, 3 seconds later, we would have lost this game. But we won! And I got the Dreadnought plus high caliber in an Atago. And Fire Steve was completely correct in chat to say that we had already won the game, and he had good manners about it, even when I disagreed, so that's why I compliment him. Although I have to say that the enemy Alabama and Chapayev also played well. And actually the team entirely played well, as the Benson on top of that, but they just didn't have quite as great of a game as Fire Steve did. Or apparently I did. There were the damage, and these are the credits and XP, and yeah, was a nice game. Let's take a look at the Atago in the port. So, the upgrades I use on her are first, obviously, main Aerroon's modification 1, as I do on basically all the ships. Or actually, I think it is all the ships, because none of the other ones, in my opinion, are worth it. In the second slot, I use damage control system modification 1, because, well, Hydro upgrade would be fine, especially for ranked games, because there are very rarely any carries, and I use Hydro anyway. But I don't have any left over, so, this one has to do, because less fires and flooding is always nice, and you're not really worried about your engine or steering gears, it's just rare enough. In the third slot, I use AA range, because while your anti-air is pretty weak for a cruiser, actually it's really weak for a cruiser, I don't think any of the other ones really make sense. As a cruiser, you don't really care about the dispersion aspect too much, your secondaries don't matter, and your main battery is already turned fast enough, and you don't really want to increase your loading time. In the fourth slot, I use steering gears because your maneuverability is mostly suffering in rudder shift, and the other two don't really matter as much. In the fifth slot, I use obviously Concealment Expert because this puts your, or Concealment System Modification 1, because this puts your detectability at 9.1 kilometers in conjunction with Concealment Expert. Captain skill-wise, I go with Priority Target, Expert Marksman, Superintendent, Concealment Expert because, well, you want to know when you're spotted, you want your turrets to turn faster, but not, at the cost of reload. A Superintendent means you have more heals, more hydros, and more planes, but you usually never run out of planes. I'm not even sure if that's possible. Concealment Expert lowers your detectability range, which is very useful. And I use AFT because this also gives some AA range, but you could use something else instead of AFT. It's just that I use the same captain also on the Zao, so I do want AFT to have some anti-air, although I think if you were to use a pure Atago captain, I guess AFT would be kinda wasted, because your anti-air is kinda weak. Then I went with Demolition Expert and Adrenaline Rush for the last 5 points. A Demolition Expert because it helps with fires, obviously, and although I do think Vigilance might be a good alternative, because, you're a cruiser and you want to dodge things, etc., but I went with Demolition Expert this time. And Adrenaline Rush because once you take damage, and you're gonna take damage, you just reload faster. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I would like to thank the patrons on Patreon. Thank you very much for your continued support, Volguyen, and I hope I'll see you guys next time.